Hello Sim Gamers, welcome back to another beautiful day at the Kerbal Space Center where we are continuing our series on Kerbal Space Program 2, Exploration Early Access. We're on episode number 4, and we're going to get into mission control to find out what our next missions coming up are. We've got Mooner Signal. Mission control picked up a mysterious signal that seemed to be originating from a fixed point on the Mun's surface. We need you to investigate. Director! Thank goodness you're here. Something strange has happened. Mission Control was monitoring our comms when we picked up a mysterious signal. Listen. Garbled sounds. It seems to be originating from a fixed point on the surface of the Mun. This could be the greatest scientific discovery of our generation. We need you to investigate. Your objective is to find the source of the strange signal originating on the Mun. The signal is unusual and keeps repeating the same thing over and over. It sure is catchy. Since we know where you are going, we can provide you with a waypoint that you can view in the tracking station and in flight when you're near the signal's location. Be careful, Director. Stay alert. Over and out, so we'll definitely track this mission. Other optional missions we have on the docket are Hi, Director. The Rokia Incorporated Quality Assurance Department has discovered that the fine print on their ladders may only shield them from liability when their ladders are used within Kerbin's gravity. They've asked us to take one of their ladders outside the environment to verify its safety. This means flying outside of Kerbin's gravitational sphere of influence and orbiting Kerbal, our sun. Hopefully, the ladder will keep being a ladder so we can all go home. Lonely satellite. We've got some reports that one of our satellites looks lonely. I don't get it, but our probe engineers keep staring mournfully at the sky every time one of them passes overhead. Sometimes they cry. We'd better give the satellite a friend. Orbit Kerbin with a probe core, antenna, and solar panel. It's eccentric. Some of the musicians, ionic, symphonic, protonic electronics, worried that if the orbit of their proposed music radio satellite isn't perfectly circular, that the pitch of the music will go up as the satellite approaches Kerbin and then go back down when it heads back out into space. I tried to explain that that's not how the Doppler effect works, but they are very nervous people. Please launch a vehicle into the least circular orbit you can manage so it can prove that their tunes will sound the same on Kerbin, no matter how weird the satellite's orbit gets. Orbit Kerbin with a periapsis of 70 to 150 kilometers and an apoapsis of 300 to 8,400 kilometers. We're going to not worry about those missions right now. It looks like we have a fun mission to do with this Munner mission here, which requires some precise flying and precise navigation to get to where we're going. So we already have a rocket that's capable of doing this, but they did say we could take a look in the tracking station to see where this waypoint was. And if I go out to the Mun, well, here it is, fairly close to the gravitational plane, the orbital plane of Kerbal, Kerbin, and the Mun. So this is an exercise in precisely planning our destination here. I'm going to get rid of all this debris really quick. So here we've already loaded up the our Mun lander that we've made before. There's no reason to really change much, except for I do know there's a flaw where these stages should be on the same activation page. So we'll go ahead and save that change. Everything else is fine just as it is. There's no reason to change anything, so we'll just launch it. Here we are on the launch pad at Kerbal Space Center, and our mission is precise landing on the Mun. We don't need to do anything particular special. Let's just get ourselves underway. Coming up on 100 meters per second. Begin pitch over. I'm going to go ahead and get a little aggressive here and go to 15 degrees off of vertical, just because of how powerful this particular rocket is. One thing I am going to do, because the tolerances for this mission might be a little tighter, because we have to do some precise flying, precise landing. I will probably not ditch any of my stages early, and I'll just keep them available for their full burn. We are 10 seconds away from this burn. Oh, I am not facing the right direction. Our gimbaled rocket will push us that direction as soon as this thing fires up. 1, 0. There we go. Booster stage separation. And we have ourselves about a 30-second burn to complete circularization around Kerbin. There's some oscillation happening. And if it's happening over much, like you have getting too much oscillation, just turn off the gimbal. Oop, never mind, don't turn off the gimbal. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, apparently. Have we completed our burn? No, we haven't. I don't know why this burn timer didn't do its thing. Apoapsis and periapsis are set. So we do have ourselves... Are we circular yet? 81 by 69, not quite. There we go. That's circular enough for me. We'll go ahead and ditch this lower stage. Enable the engines, do a quick test fire to make sure we're actually enabled, and then get our maneuver to the MUN configured. So, set target, create a maneuver node. Pull this out until it's just barely touching the MUN orbit. Something like that. And then we can adjust for intercept. Well, that ought to be good enough. It's a pretty high periapsis, but that kind of flyby can be easily adjusted when we get there. No sense in waiting around a very long time. Atlantis has this to say about my For Science YouTube short. The staple of any KSP player's playthrough, unplanned disassembly of whatever it is you're working on, especially tasty looking Kraken bait. That's honestly half the fun of this game, when something goes horribly wrong and we all learn something from it. While KSP 2 is in early access, and I have seen the occasional bug, I can't recommend the For Science update enough. Thanks for the comment, Atlantis. I want to hear from you. What's the thing that you're looking forward to the most in KSP 2? So we have time accelerated to our periapsis. I don't particularly need a maneuver node or anything. We can just aim at the aim retrograde. Fire up and go full throttle. And bring ourselves into an orbit. Once we actually get an orbit established, I think I'm going to go ahead and make my plane change burn, because in order to reach this spot, I need to have my plane, my orbital plane be over it. So we're going to expend the rest of the fuel in this stage to get something approaching a circular orbit. That should do. And as we are currently 90 degrees off of this, we are going to face orbit anti-normal, which is to say south, and bend our orbit to get over that point. So full throttle once again. We're using up a lot of our delta V, but then again, this is just a maneuver and landing vessel. So it doesn't have to worry about liftoff or anything. That's what the rest of our other mission is for. Okay. Now, next maneuver node here to essentially... Actually, I'm not exactly sure. Before I plan that node, I'm just going to thrust here. Time warp to this point. Because we're orbiting the Mun is orbiting Kerbin, and since it's tidally locked, it's going to be rotating around its orbit as well. I think I want to go a little further. What I really want to do probably is put them in, I'm going to quick save here, put them in over here. It's going to be a more aggressive deceleration burn. And what I'm doing is I'm intentionally casting my, heck, we have a lot of delta V available. So if I do this, it only takes 100 delta V or so to do that. And I'm intentionally sending my landing point long. I can send it even longer just to guarantee. So somewhere up in here we'll do another burn to decelerate us even further and kind of aim for that spot. Okay, we're at the maneuver. We're going to go ahead and time warp there. Get ourselves set up. So this is going to be a little bit fiddly as we try to get this right, but it is, after all, precise landing. So we've got 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. A relatively short burn to get us to where we want to go, which is right there. Now we discard this. Here's what I want to explain what my plan is. So we've got a collision course, a ballistic trajectory onto the surface of the Mun. Somewhere up here, we will create a maneuver node that'll allow us to basically do the final bit of stopping and descending onto our target point. So let's go ahead and get unpaused, create our maneuver node. We thrust retrograde, and handily this thing will tell us what our stop looks like. So what we can actually do is we can sort of do two things at once. We can continue to thrust here to bring our node closer, like so. This red part is our actual thrust, the actual amount of thrust we would be using to bring us to a stop. Seems like we can actually bring this quite close and then adjust this here. And if I wanted to actually, so my current orbital velocity is 408 meters per second, which means I should probably plan for 408 meters per second deceleration burn. And that looks like it drops us pretty much right on that point. I can even course correct a little bit right here to adjust. That's less thrust. Here's more thrust. 45-second burn configures us for a landing in that position. So let's go ahead and warp to our next spot. And I'm just essentially trying to be as efficient in this as possible, because I know that in order to get a precise landing, we're going to have to hover around a little bit. It'd be easier if I had redesigned the rocket to have a little bit more delta V in the landing stage, perhaps. But I just kind of wanted to show that that's really not necessary. With a little bit of thinking and practice. 2, 1, ignition. We're going to expend the rest of this stage and then use the landing stage, the tail end of this stage to land. And it looks like we have our target in sight. So we're both changing our orbital trajectory as well as our orbital plane. Or at least we would have been if I'd had my maneuver set in correctly, but I didn't. Now the real question is, are we actually going to come to a stop? I need to go retrograde because we're coming in hotter than we are with our velocity here. All right. So now here's what we can do. We can go hover in that direction. From this orientation, I'm just trying to make sure I have my controls sort of the way I expect them, and that's not the case. Okay, if I lean this way, that's that way. If I lean this way, that's what that way. This is back, this is forward. Okay, I can cope with that. So what I'm really doing right now is just sort of hover bouncing in the direction of the landing site. I can make sure that I'm hovering over the surface by spending a little bit of delta V. Now we don't want to spend all of our delta V doing this, obviously, because we still have to both collect the mission and get back safely. So if I sort of do this and lock in, we should begin slowing down while hovering. Slowing down, slowing down. Okay, now I can go back to hover. I want to go more this way. And we're really, really close. So now I want to think about bringing myself to a stop from this hover by aiming myself sort of against the direction of where I'm going. Okay. The trick is orientating your craft so that this really makes sense, like sort of on an instinctual level. It makes sense what you're trying to accomplish. So now more thrust this way to bring us to a stop. Okay, hopefully somewhat gentle touchdown. One thing I forgot I need to do is set my strength correctly. All right, are we going to settle? And we've accomplished our mission. Science experiments to be done in the area. We have crew observations. The jewels seem to represent our system. Are those Kraken running up the sides? What is this thing? We can detect nothing out of the ordinary in this area. Oh, except for the arch. Seismometers suggest this arch extends far underground, but we have not determined if this is an arch or a full ring. That's just a piece of what we're able to get. Let's go ahead and EVA. All right, Bob, what do you got for us for science? We have surface samples. The arch is too hard to break a piece off to examine. What tests we can run confirm this arch is comprised of a new element. We have not been able to obtain a sample from this arch, however, whatever it is made of, we can't break it off into our tubes. We are coming back with 304 science just from the local discoverables alone. That's amazing. So here we've made it this far, SimGamer. Precise control and landing to find a point. And this is I mentioned before, this is a vital skill for building surface bases when that becomes available. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves parked or back on our ship here, hopefully without knocking the thing over. Grabbed on, we're gonna board. Things would be easier, of course, if I had a ladder. We don't need any more maneuver nodes. Where are we? We're here? So really, this is more or less perfect for a launch and direct ascent into Kerbin, a Kerbin return. All we need to do is launch east, and I'm going to slow down time and explain what the heck I'm talking about. I know that I need to thrust this away, generally speaking, to reduce my velocity with respect to Kerbin, to bring my orbit down and land on Kerbin. Since I'm already on this part of the moon, if I just turn eastward and thrust in that direction, the rest will just sort of take care of itself. So let's get underway with that right now. Full throttle. No need to be particularly special about it. SAS turned on, of course. And score 30 degrees above the horizon and just go that way. Once our prograde marker catches up to where we are, we'll go ahead and just switch prograde. Our apoapsis is already climbing up out of the mun. We can go ahead and fly prograde now. So I'm just going to keep on thrusting this direction as we extend our velocity away from mun. Basically slowing us down with respect to mun's direction of travel. Once our apoapsis gets out of mun's sphere of influence, the rest is commentary. And because I've conserved delta V from other parts of the mission, we have plenty to do this. So we're going to aim once again for 35 kilometers for our typical re-entry sequence. As you can see, we're landing quite high in the mountains of Kerbin. Just hopefully my pod will come to a rest relatively easily. Yep, looks like we're recoverable here. I'm going to go ahead and, since I'm in the area, might as well grab an EVA. Anything new? No new samples? Oh, well, worth a try. Let's recover and see what we've gotten. Oh, there's a crew report. On subsurface samples, okay. Samples consist of preliminary of sedimentary and metamorphic rock formed under high pressure and low temperature. The ground here is nothing but rock. If you stand in just the right spot, you can see for kilometers in every direction. A little bit of bonus science to bring home is always good. Let's go ahead and recover the vessel. All right, let's see what Mission Control has to say on this evening at Kerbal Space Center of our lunar signal. Oh, we already got it. Really? Okay. Director, you're back. My goodness, we can't believe what you found. If we didn't have visuals, we'd have thought it was a prank. Did you notice the bronze filigree of the arch? I swear I was looking at that exact shade to tile my bathroom. Did you also notice the crystal spheres on the arch? At first, I thought, wow, it's a bit gaudy, but then I realized there's a pattern. Did you notice how bright the crystal at the center is? Like a certain sun that you shouldn't stare directly into? And the 7 crystals that surround it, guess how many celestial bodies orbit Kerbal? I've jokingly referred to Kerbin as a blue marble before, but it turns out I'm not the only one who sees it that way. What an architectural marvel. Moreover, whoever made this had serious skills. Why is it there? Mission Control is workshopping 2 theories. 1, an installation artist snuck on board prior to the moon landing and built it while we were eating cake. 2, maybe it's symbolic of something. The signal keeps repeating over and over. We think it might be a message. Maybe it will tell us how the art got there. Mission Control has all hands on deck decoding the message you received. So exciting! Come back when you're ready for an update. Find the source of the mysterious signal on the Mun. Oh, that's really well done. 350 science for that mission completed. It's eccentric, can be submitted. Congratulations on a successful mission. The musicians at Ionic Symphonic Protonic Electronics are relieved. Of course, now they want their own spaceship. We can discuss that later. For now, please feel free to rest and enjoy the complimentary copy of Ionic Symphonic Protonic Electronics CD Collection 2001 Songs for Space. And there we have it, Sim Gamers. We have accomplished a precise moon landing, and are ready to get on with the next missions in future episodes. Until then, I've been Sim Gamer, and this has been Kerbal Space Program 2 for science. Let's go ahead and EVA. Let's go ahead and